Om Namo Narayana. Our 5 minutes are up, and I'm going to start the Shanti mantras. So I'm inviting you for this session. Okay. So starting the Shanti mantras, we are start doing Mandukya after very long. It looks like there are a lot of obstacles for it. So maybe we don't do the Shanti mantras. So we should do the Shanti mantras. We never complete all of them. So we'll complete them. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Shanno Mitrasham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Brihaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayu Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Yaschandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyodhyamritaat sambabhuva Samendro medaya aspranotu Amritasya devadharano bhuyasam Shariram me vicharshanam Jihva me madhumat Karnabhyam bhuri vishruvam Brahmanak koshosi medhaya pihitaha Shrutam me gopaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Aham Vrikshasya Reriva Kirti Prishtam Gireriva Urdhva Pavitro Vajineva Swamritamasmi Dravinagum Savarchasam Sumedha Amritokshitaha Iti Trishankor Vedanu Vachanam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshushrutramato Balamindriyani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarut Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmaste mai santu te mai santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vang me manasi pratishtita Mano me vachi pratishtitam Aviravirma edhi Vedasya ma'ani istaha Shrutam me ma prahasi Anenaditena Ahoratran sandadami Ritam vadishyami Satyam vadishyami तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रन्नो अपि वातय नमः मनः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः। भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः। स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः। स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः। स्वस्ति नस्ताक्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः। स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ यो ब्रह्माणं विददाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तगुंहदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशशिर्भ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितप्रज्ञानगणप्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ॐ नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यानस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Now you can open your books, to the last portion where we have all the mantras, and we'll do these 3 mantras that we are on now. Om iti etadaksharam idam sarvam tasya upavyakhyanam. I'm pausing so that you all can say. Bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi sarvam omkara eva यच्चा अन्यत्रिकालातीतं तदपि ओंकार एव। सर्वं हि एतद् ब्रह्म अयमात्मा ब्रह्म सोऽयमात्मा चतुष्पात्। थर्ड मंत्र जागृतस्थानः बहिष्प्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्गः एकोनविंशतिमुखः स्थूलभुग् वैश्वानरः प्रथमपादः। So now we start, okay? I suddenly looked at the Bhashya and it is also very beautiful. So a little bit of the summary will be from the Bhashya and then we'll proceed. First I thought I wouldn't do any summary at all because you know I sent you the video and told you to listen to it. Presumably you did that. Eh? So I'm just starting now. So we are on the third mantra, okay? And the third mantra, we saw that in the second mantra, Atma was said as having 4 quarters, Chatushpat iti. Now the first of the quarters is being described in the third mantra, and I'm looking at the Bhashya now. Jagrita sthanam asya iti jagrita sthanaha. Meaning, he whose seat is the waking state is called Jagrita Sthanaha. The consciousness that is identified with the waking state is called as Jagrita Sthanaha. Bahish Prajnaha Swatma Vyatirikte Vishaye Prajna Yasya Saha Bahish Prajnaha. He whose consciousness rests in objects other than his own self. Swatme Vyatirikte Vishaye Prajna Yasya Saha. Okay? Meaning, whose consciousness being, so then Bhashyakara continues, Saha Bahish Prajnaha Bahir Vishaye Eva Prajna Avidya Krita Avabhasata Ityarthaha. So, he whose consciousness rests in objects other than his own self, meaning whose consciousness being under the sway of avidya, okay, under the sway of ignorance, what does it do? It goes and gets stuck with the external objects, appears to embrace the external objects as it were. Okay? That is the Bahish Prajna. In the waking state, that's what happens. Okay. Tatha Saptangaha. I'm not reading the Bhashya for that because it's a quote from Chandogya Upanishad, you know. And in Saptangaha is referring to the 7 limbs, which are really referring to the cosmic person. The cosmic person is looked upon like a human being, you know, with head and with eyes, with feet, okay? So that cosmic person is visualized like that because we know ourselves as, so that's very beautifully said over there, for whom the head is the heavens, the eyes are the sun and moon, the ears are the directions, the 4 directions, iti. Speech is the Veda, for whose breath or prana is the Vayu, whose heart is the whole world. Look at that, how beautiful. Whose heart is the whole world. In his heart, the whole world is there, you know. In the cosmic person's heart, the whole world is sitting there, iti. Whose feet are the earth. And in romantic language, and therefore, who is the indwelling self of all. Eko Devaha, Sarva Bhuteshu Gudaha. Okay, who is the indwelling Atma. He is the Antaryami, he is the Atma of everybody. Saptangaha, the one who has 7 limbs. Okay. So the one who is possessed of these 7 limbs. And similarly, Tatha Ekona Vimshati Mukha Anyasya Buddhi Indriyani Karmendriyani cha Dasha Vayavascha Pranadayaha Pancham Pranadayaha बुद्धिर अहंकार चित्तमिति मुखानि इव मुखानि तानि उपलब्धि द्वारा इत्यर्थः सह एवं विशिष्ट so then it was said ekoni vimshati mukha, the one who has got 19 mouths. Okay, and what are those 19 mouths? The 5 sense organs, the 5 organs of action, the 5 pranas, and the fourfold mind. Iti. And they are called as the mouths. Swami V explains they are called as the mouths because with them we consume the whole world. We interact with the whole world. We experience, we consume, the whole world comes into us through them. Iti. So they are called as this thing. They are the entrances, as it were, of the whole world into us. Okay. And therefore, this Vaishwanara who has been described, Vaishwanara is the waking person. Okay. The Vishwanaraha, the one who is all the beings. That I will be telling you now when I get into the today's portion of it. Okay, so let me start with today's portion. Okay, so we saw, okay, so we see here that this Atma is Chatushpat, meaning Shastra is using a particular methodology, a prakriya. Why? To discover. Using this prakriya, it will help us to discover what is it that is always present in and through the 3 states. That is the waking state, the dream, and the deep sleep state. Look at such a wonderful prakriya. Our entire range of experience is covered through these 3 prakriyas. And so, Shastra is going to use this prakriya for us to be able to discover the invariable. What is the invariable in all these 3 states? Iti. So, here the waker is called as Vaishwanaraha. Okay? Vaishwanaraha is the name of the cosmic person. Just like Saptangaha was the name of the cosmic person, Vaishwanaraha is the name of the cosmic person. Ishvara, who is identified with the entire gross creation. So, this verse we see, this mantra is looking at the individual as the jiva, as well as the individual, so consciousness as a jiva, as well as consciousness as Ishvara, the cosmic person. Like the jiva, Ishvara, the cosmic person, who is he? The one who is identified with the entire gross creation. That's why he was called Stula Book. Okay? The one who is identified with the entire gross creation. So he is identified with the whole universe, and this cosmic person, like the individual, has got a waking state, a dream state, and a deep sleep state. So in Shastric Prakriya, you have the cosmic waker, you have the individual waker, the cosmic dreamer, the individual dreamer, the cosmic deep sleeper, the individual deep sleeper. Okay? So, and Shastra gives names also. So the individual waker is called as Vishwa, the individual dreamer is called as Taijasa, and the individual deep sleeper is called as Pragnyaha. The cosmic waker is called as Virat or Vaishwanaraha. The cosmic dreamer is called as Hiranyagarbha, and the cosmic deep sleeper is called as Ishvara. So here in this mantra, Vaishwanara is the name of the consciousness identified with the entire gross creation. So when Ishvara is fully awake, okay, he is called as Vaishwanaraha or Virat. So Vaishwanara has two words, Vishwa. Vishwa means all. Nara means beings. So all the beings. The consciousness that is identified with all the beings. Meaning what? Animate, inanimate, sentient, insentient. Whatever there is, whatever there is identified with all body-mind complexes, all nama rupas, even with a rock, with a stone, animate, inanimate. So when Vaishwanara says I, the whole universe is included in that I. Vaishwanara is another meaning also, the one who leads all the beings in different ways towards their destiny. Why? Because Vaishwanara means Ishvara is the karma phala data. So according to the karma, whatever karma is in store for the person, according to the results of he gives the results of the actions. So all beings are led to their destiny. Now, we should spend time really thinking about this cosmic person. Just think of that. We are just consciousness identified with one body, mind, sense complex. Okay. That itself is so complex. And this is identified with the entire universe. Not only Earth, the entire universe. 7 up, 7 down, whatever there is. Galaxies, etc. So you can imagine that consciousness power, what is its omniscience? It is all knowledge, all power. That cosmic person is all knowledge, all power. Okay? It's just mind-boggling what it is. Simultaneously who is aware of without requiring a mind, who is simultaneously aware of everything. Okay. So in this mantra, there are adjectives which are describing both the individual as well as the cosmic person. But Atma Chatushpat, it should be describing only Atma, the individual self, iti. But here, Upanishad includes the cosmic person also. Saptanga is an adjective applicable, we saw, to the cosmic person. Cosmos means it includes everybody, everything. And why? Here we are being shown that the self of the cosmos, the Atma of the cosmos, meaning the essence of the cosmos, the truth of the cosmos, that which can never be negated in the cosmos, okay, that is the self of all. The self of the cosmos is the self of all. It's a huge concept. Then Ekona Vimshati Mukhaha, that which has 19 mouths. That means it's an adjective for the individual person having 19 mouths. We saw that, 5 organs, etc. So in one mantra, some adjectives are applying to the cosmic person and some are applying to the individual person. Saptanga Ekone Vimshati Mukhaha. That means he is the waker, who is Saptangaha, the cosmic person, as well as the individual person. So how come? How come Shastra is doing this? In describing the waker, is describing both. So Swami Viditatmananji beautifully points out that the Upanishad does not want to distinguish between the individual and the cosmos, because it wants to show us, it wants to reveal to us that Atma is one, consciousness is one. The consciousness that is there in you, the consciousness that is there in me, the consciousness that is there in an elephant, the consciousness that is there in an ant, the consciousness that is there in a mango tree, that is there in a simple bush, or in a weed, or in a caterpillar, or in a worm. Okay, the consciousness is one and the same. Then consciousness is nirguna. It is free of all attributes, right? And therefore, the consciousness In consciousness, that is Atma, there is neither individuality nor totality. I'll try to show this to you. I've written it on a piece of paper because it's so important. Eh? And I'll just show it to you for extra effect. Okay, not this paper, this side. Okay. See, in consciousness, that is Atma, there is neither individuality nor is there any totality. Consciousness is free from the kalpana from the concepts of individual and cosmic. Okay, from the cosmic, it is free from the concept of individual and total. Individuals appear to be many, but Atma is not many. So to convey this, adjectives for both cosmic and individual are used to show that in consciousness there is no difference whatsoever, because in consciousness there is no individuality or totality. There is only one consciousness. I'm trying to think of an example for this. I'm not getting a good enough example. In all the waves, there is only one water. In all the ornaments, there's only one gold. In all the different, in the fan, in the light, in the heater, in the geyser, in the turbines which are running the dams, there is only one electricity. The electricity is the same. There is no change in that. So, it's an amazing prakriya. How intelligently Shastra has used this mantra to convey this idea that the self is only one and it is free of the idea of individual and total. So now let's look at the adjectives which applies to whom. Okay. So we can see the cosmic person has got two adjectives, Vaishwanaraha and Saptangaha. Then Jagratastana and Bahishpragnya can apply to the cosmic person as well. This is from the mantra. And then to the individual, the Jiva, Ekonavimshati Mukhaha is one adjective, Jagratastanaha, okay, the one whose consciousness is in the waking state, iti, and Bahishpragnaha, which is outward, which is extrovert, that is also referring to the Jiva. And so what is the intention? The intention is to show that both are not in essence different. Identity or oneness in essence, there is just identity or oneness between the two. And it's only because of our ignorance that we have the notion that they are different. Consciousness alone is the truth. It is Sarva Bhutantaratma. Sarvatma is the truth. Consciousness is Sarvatma. One consciousness alone is the truth. Okay? Now I turn the camera back to me and we will go now to the book. Swamiji is so brilliant, I don't know what we would have done without this book, because it's so brilliant, the way Swamiji has explained, So we should stay with the book. I know it makes it long because Swamiji goes in real detail in it. And we come to page number 108. Open to page number 108. Consciousness transcends individual and the cosmic. So here, presumably you have turned to page 108. So the cosmic person has many names, including Vaishwanaraha, Virat, Ishwar. All these words are masculine gender. People question that you always talk of Purusha, how come there is no place for a woman? Answer. All there is Purusha. There is nothing else. What there is the cosmic person. What is this cosmic person? Consciousness identified with the entire cosmos is the cosmic person. We saw that. Consciousness identified with the individual upadhi. Okay? And there below he gives what is upadhi. Upadhi is that which as though conditions consciousness. It looks like consciousness got limited to this upadhi. So for the individual, the upadhi is the body-mind-sense complex. So consciousness identified with the body-mind-sense, this one body-mind-sense complex is called as the individual person, the jiva. But even in the jiva, the individual, the real person is consciousness alone. Meaning body-mind-sense complex is not the real person. Why do we say it's not the real person? Because the body is subject to death. This is the only one thing we can be certain about in life, and that is this body is here for a short time. It's a rented residence given to us. We are on lease and we don't know when the lease is going to end. Okay. So the body, it's a temporary residence. Then the subtle body moves out of this body and move and take on another body. Iti. And even the subtle body comes to an end when there is moksha. Iti. So it can't be called as real. Real is something which is always there and it doesn't change. Whereas the body and mind keep changing. Iti. So what is real here? In this experience, we are here as a human being. What is real here? The consciousness that one is. The self-evident, self-revealing consciousness that one is. That is real. Because it doesn't change. It doesn't go anywhere. It's there with you always. It is real. Okay. So all differences, Swamiji says, are in the body-mind complex. So what is called as man or a woman in our day-to-day language applies to an individual body. And by the word Purusha, we understand male in daily language. But we must understand the etymology of the word Purusha. Etymology means the history of the word or the way it is derived. Purushaha Puri Shayanat. The one who dwells in the city of this body-mind complex is called as the Purusha. Who dwells here? The one who dwells here, the person. Who is the person? The person is consciousness. Okay? The one who dwells in the city of this body-mind complex is called the Purusha. Another etymology is Purnatvat Purushaha. That which fills up everything is called as Purushaha. Now we saw consciousness is all pervading, it fills up everything. There is nothing here which is free of consciousness. Consciousness is that from which even space is arisen. So space is also pervaded by consciousness. There's nothing here which is away from consciousness. It fills up everything. Iti. What is it that fills up this body-mind complex or fills up the whole cosmos? That pervades everything. What is it because of which everything is? It's there. You know, pencil is, book is, flask is, body is, prana is, mind is. It is Asti Bhati Priyam Satchid Ananda. You know, if Satchid Ananda becomes too difficult to make a jump to, one level before that is that there is one life force permeating this whole universe. That is what we call as Chit Shakti. Chit Shakti manifesting as everything that is here. You know, the energy. And it's an all-intelligent energy. You can't call it Maya, you can call it Mother, Amba. Chit Shakti, intelligent energy, is manifest as everything that is here, including the life force which is vibrating in every cell in your body. That life force is there, you know. Every cell is vibrating with it. So, when that Dehatma Buddhi is very much, and you cannot de-identify from it, what is palpable with you is the life force. And if you are not able to feel the life force, you just do some nice Bhastrika. And you will feel that energy coursing through you. That's the life force coursing through you. The prana is coursing through you. That prana is vibrating in every cell of the body. It is all intelligent. And not only it's vibrating in your body, it's vibrating in every body. In different frequencies, it's vibrating. So we can identify it with the prana because it's something which we can feel. If you need to feel something, then prana is there as something which you can feel. So identify with that prana, with that Chit Shakti, which is one Chit Shakti in the whole universe. We can identify with that Chit Shakti. And then once we identified with the Chit Shakti, then becomes easier. Because now we are identified, you become the cosmic person, you are identified with everything in this universe. Then you ask yourself, but Chit Shakti, how do I know there is Chit Shakti? There must be something which is changeless because of which Chit Shakti is known, and that is Chit, the Chaitanyam, which never changes. And therefore, from make a quantum, I am manifest as Chit Shakti, who is manifest as this whole cosmos in which this one mind sense complex is there. Okay? Okay, 109. Name and form is a city, and the one that dwells in the city is called as Purusha. What dwells in the city of name and form is Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Sat, Chit, Ananda. Asti, Bhati, Priyam is familiar with my students who did Drigdrishya Vivek with me, you know. So there we constantly use the word Asti, Bhati, Priyam, which is really same as Sat, Asti, Bhati is Chit, and Priyam is Satchit, Ananda, which is really consciousness. So what dwells in the city of name and form is consciousness. Therefore, in its real sense, the word Purusha means consciousness that dwells in the city of name and form. So what is called as a male body or a female body is all name and form. It is the city, and the indweller is consciousness. Okay? So that is the Purusha in the etymological sense of the word. Historical sense of the word, the history of words. As it happens, the Purusha that dwells in the individual body is also the Purusha that dwells in the cosmic body. Because in consciousness, there is no such thing as individuality. In Chit Shakti, yes, in different frequencies it's there. But basically it is one energy. You know, you can collapse all those Shaktis and, you know, all those different frequencies into one energy, one all-knowing energy. But here we are looking at the consciousness, which is even more basic. You know, consciousness is the essence of even Chit Shakti. So the Purusha that indwells in the individual body is also the Purusha that dwells in the cosmic body, because in consciousness there is no such thing as individuality. The Pinda and Brahmanda, the individual and the cosmos, these concepts are applicable only to the body. But the consciousness that dwells in the body doesn't have individuality, nor does it have cosmicness. Consciousness transcends. Remember, it is nirvikara, nirguna, right? That which doesn't change ever, which has got no attributes at all, which is nirakara, which has no form. So consciousness transcends the ideas of individuality and totality. Individual refers to the individual upadhi, and cosmic refers to the total Ishvara's upadhi. So consciousness incidentally associated with the individual is called the individual consciousness. That association of consciousness with this body is just incidental. Incidental means not essential. So that association of consciousness with this body is just incidental, something which comes and goes, because in fact consciousness transcends everything. Don't think that consciousness is connected to the body. We say that consciousness dwells within the body, but really speaking, there's no such thing as within or without as far as consciousness is concerned. Okay, and that Swamiji explains again, and this is really beautiful and it requires a lot of good thinking. So let's take a small break and let's take a deep breath. Hold and release slowly. Another deep breath. Hold and release slowly. You know, Vedanta can become very serious. So, and then, you know, you get a headache or your head goes round. So that time you should take a break. Take a break and you should just do deep breathing. Take a break, go and do some light exercise, but this is a class, we can't do that. Or just put your Hare Rama, Hare Krishna bhajan and do a little dance. See? Okay, now we continue. You need your thinking caps. There's going to be a lot of, okay, it's very beautiful. You might say that the space within this pot is called as pot space. I don't have a pot here with me, but I do have a flask which is full of water, so I better not tilt it. So the space within the pot, okay, is called as pot space. We are on page 109 if anybody has newly come in. So pot space is called as Ghatakasha. Space in this cloth is called as Patakasha. Space in this whole hall is called as Mathakasha. But Ghatakasha, Patakasha, Mathakasha, simply incidental attributes of Akasha, because Akasha, the space, is not confined or the flask or by the cloth or by the hall. Why? Space is space. What happens is, because of focusing our attention on the flask or focusing our attention on a pot and giving reality to the boundaries, okay, here is the flask. We give reality to the boundaries of the flask. Therefore, we think that the space is confined within the pot or within the flask. But really speaking, this flask is in space, and space does not have flaskiness, you know. Space in itself does not have any flaskness or clothness or hallness in it. It is not there. All of these are attributes that we superimpose upon space because of our own notions. Okay? We are giving reality to the boundaries. That is the notion, giving reality to the boundary. And therefore, we superimpose upon that which has no boundary, we superimpose boundaries. In space, there is no potness, page 110, no clothness, and so on. Similarly, in consciousness, there is no individuality. Consciousness associated with each name and form may be called as individual consciousness, and consciousness associated with the totality of names and form can be called as universal consciousness. But these ideas of individuality and universality, they don't the idea of universal is with reference to the idea of individual. Therefore, both ideas, but as far as consciousness, there is no individuality, universality. All that there is consciousness. Consciousness is Sha iti. I think we all need to take a deep breath. A lot of concepts, Vedanta we have, it's all concepts which need to be assimilated deep in us. And if we have too many concepts coming in at one time, it becomes an overdose. And an overdose, then we get cured of Vedanta. Like some people go to the course and they get an overdose of Vedanta in the course. And after that, they never want to listen to Vedanta again. They don't even want to do chanting again. Far less listen to Vedanta again. So take a deep breath. Okay. So is there a duality between space and pot? Because what we call pot also is nothing but space. Space alone appears as pot. In Vedanta we have a prakriya. Akashad vayoho vayoragnihi agnerapah adbhyah prithvi. Prithivya oshadya oshadya iti. Science also says that, but Vedanta says it in its own way. Vayuhu agnihi apah prithvi. All the four elements emerge from Akasha space. And everything that is in this universe is made of these five elements. So space alone manifested as air, that further manifested as fire, that further manifested as water, that further manifested as earth, and that earth manifested as a pot. So what is pot? It is only 5 stages removed from space. It is nothing but a modification of space. Science also says that really all the objects, Nama and Rupa, are nothing but manifestations of what they call the space-time continuum. We think that space and pot are different. We think that pot is a tangible object, a flask is a tangible object, and space is that which accommodates that pot. It is okay. From a certain standpoint, that's okay. But really, this tangible object also is nothing but a manifestation of the space and time. Space-time alone became this pot. It became this pencil, it became this diary, etc. It became you and I. So whatever we are is nothing but the manifestation of space and time. In Dakshinamurti Stotram, it says, Maya kalpita desha kala kalana vaichitra chitri kritam. Maya, Shakti, projects this concept of desha and kala. And the various combinations of space and time, they now manifest as this universe. Desha kala kalana kalpita. Space and time combine in various ways to become as though the varieties of names and forms, the whole universe. So when you analyze even Prakriti, it turns out an energy when it's further analyzed. Okay? Because energy has to be enlivened. It has to be enlivened by a conscious principle. So energy also further analyzed ultimately turns out to be consciousness. So the physicists tell us that energy is all there is. That's only how far they can go. But Vedanta says that what they call as energy is nothing but a manifestation of consciousness. So all there is consciousness. Therefore, the distinctions of the individual and the total, that kind of distinct distinguishing factor. They are not there ultimately. Distinction is there only as long as we look upon ourselves as individuals. If you look upon yourself as an individual consciousness, then there is a cosmic consciousness. But in reality, in consciousness itself, its own swarupa. Okay? But then if ocean looks at itself in its own swarupa, it is not iti. In reality, in consciousness itself, the idea of individual and cosmic do not exist. And that is why we find the deliberate use of some adjectives that apply to the individual self and some adjectives that apply to the iti. Okay. Okay. I think we will stop at that point and we will do a small meditation. Okay. This meditation is not going to be any great, or not. Uh, it's going to just going to look at our breath and look at us in terms of who we are. Okay. It's something I've been spending a lot of time meditating. So it's something that I would like to, I've been looking at, like uh, at the different levels of error. We think we are the body, then we think we are the prana, we think we are the mind. So we are the body part of it. I had written and sent to you all. Hopefully you all read it. Okay. So now this is going to be wisdom with reference to breath, which we'll do as a small little meditation. I think it will be very helpful to us. Eh? So I don't want you all to see me. You all can see Shankaracharya here. Okay. You'll be able to hear me. So now let us sit straight and let us be as relaxed as we can. Sit straight. Take a deep breath and release. If you are, if you've been sitting in one position, you want to change your position, you can do that. And sit in a relaxed manner and take a deep breath. Hold and slowly release. Let's take another deep breath. Hold and slowly release. In today's meditation, we'll just understand something about breath and prana. So, let's become aware that there is air outside. And it is this outside air that we breathe. And when we breathe, there is air inside. So there is air outside the body, there is air inside the body. Like a fish survives or lives in water, this body lives in air. Take a deep breath and exhale. With every inhalation, the breath strengthens the body And with every exhalation, every cell in the body, with inhalation, every cell is strengthened. You can breathe now and feel it yourself. As you breathe in, you can notice how the system is strengthened with the breath. Every cell, and this is going on. It's Ishvara manifest as breath, as the breathing process, as the breathing apparatus. I think we appreciate that. Full to Ishvara for this breath. It's a gift of Ishvara. Without this, this breath, the life force that is vibrating cell of the body, enlivening every cell. And with reference to this prana, I am a simple conscious being illumining the prana. I am here, a conscious presence, and in my conscious presence, breathing takes place. I am grateful for prana. Take a few seconds to just observe at the nostril, at the tip of the nostril. Nostril, we have a triangle. You can feel the breath. Just can note its temperature while inhaling, while exhaling. You may note that it is cool when inhaling and warm when exhaling. This breath is such an amazing thing. You can feel it. You just have to turn your attention to it. You feel it at your nostril, going in, and then it takes a U-turn and goes down the windpipe into the lungs, filling up the lungs. And as it fills up the lungs, your belly also moves. As you inhale, and as you inhale, strengthen. And as you exhale, you can watch the exhalation. The belly goes down, the throat, and then down the nostril. And that breath is warm. This process of watching the breath is called as prana vikshanam. It's a very, very useful practice to just be an observer of your breath. And as an observer, you will realize that you are a simple conscious presence in whose presence breathing takes place. I am a simple conscious being. I am different from prana. Prana is not separate from me. I enliven and illumine prana. I am grateful. What can I give to prana? My grateful awareness of it throughout the day, and especially when I do pranayam. Prana is nourished by water, so I get enough water. This prana is in the form of breath and life energy coursing through this entire body, enlivening all the cell, enlivening all the physiological functions. In this, just feel that presence of prana. Prana is in the form of breath and life energy coursing through all the beings, all the living beings, be it an amoeba or just a unicellular being to the largest being in the universe. On earth, perhaps the largest elephant. But there are so many lokas, so we don't know how large the largest being is. So I honor this prana in all the beings. I am a simple conscious being, aware of prana, independent of prana, illumining and enlivening prana. I acknowledge that prana is not separate from me, the consciousness. Indeed, consciousness, I, as the cosmic being, manifests prana. I understand myself. The consciousness that I am is self-evident, independent of. That is not easy to understand that. Think about it. You can ask me next time. Consciousness I free of all modifications. Prana is changing. It is because consciousness I is changeless that the changes in prana. If consciousness also changed, there would be no way of knowing the changes in prana. Consciousness I is changeless. Consciousness I is the drashta, and prana is the drishya. So take a deep breath Hold and let go. Now take another breath in small little sips, savoring each breath. Allowing yourself to relax totally. In the knowledge of prana being there to strengthen and relax you with every breath that you inhale and exhale. Slowly become conscious of your body, of the environment, of the sounds around you, of the environment. Become conscious of your body, and slowly you can open your eyes. So like this, I thought a little bit of meditation. Next time also we will do meditation, and it will be with reference. This was wisdom with reference to breath. Next time we will do meditation, wisdom with reference to the mind. Okay. Yeah. And with that, I would like to conclude this class. Thank you for whoever has joined in. I'm not sure that Harish joined. He's the one who asked for the class, I was not planning to do any class for Mandukya. But since Harish asked for it, I've done it. And so with that, we conclude. Okay. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithve Sasyashalini Deshoyam Kshobarahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om.